and Showmax company. It's a video on demand product, so it's like Netflix but for South Africa. So I guess everybody heard about Netflix services. Alright, so today I'm going to speak about Android and specifically about Android TV. And it's like developing is always hard, but I hope that with this presentation it will be easy, well, almost. A little bit facts about Android TV. It was announced 2 years ago, so it's already 2 years in production, and it came as replacement for this stuff. It's Google TV product, which is that now, and it was replaced by this. So what is that about Android TV? Android TV is custom Android, the same one you have in your mobile devices, but it was specifically designed for TV handsets, TV layouts. So there are a lot of companies, there is a few honorable mentions here, but the list is huge. And you may be asked, why do I need to buy or spend my money on Android TV? I can use Chromecast, it's cheap, but it's smart TV and it can do a lot of stuff, and you can install your applications that are not actually designed for Android TV but still can be executed. And this interesting stuff is that it's already integrated within your Android TV device. Also, there is a difference between handset devices, handset applications, and Android TV developed applications. They are reviewed by Google, and it's pretty similar to what we have for iOS platform. The only difference, they are not digging deep in your code or looking that, oh, don't use this or don't use that. They just like checking whether your UI looks good and supports focuses. So about the numbers, there is 600 plus applications on Play Market. The funny stuff is when I have visited the Play Market, there were only 60. But that's official information. Maybe they are like limited to Ukraine. And of course games, and there are a lot of them, so I guess numbers are not suitable here. The TV device is expensive, but there are alternatives. You can buy a TV box and it's around $300, and the lowest one, this one, pretty popular, is a Media Shield. So challenges developing for Android TV platform. You developing for 10-foot UI, and we can see the specs. There is no touch screen. Well, it makes sense because nobody except your children touches the screen. And you must also keep in mind when you develop games that you would make your controllers work properly. And this is about working debug properly. And why do you think LOS 21 is a challenge? Any guesses? Okay, so it's a lie, because actually there is no 21 API, and thankfully for the Chinese market, so we have a huge number of Chinese boxes that are actually not Android TV published by Google, but the Chinese custom ROM. But still they're like 10-foot UI, and you still need to leverage those devices and to work on them. So Google is always trying to be helpful for us developers, and they introduce lean-back library that helps us a lot and leverages a lot of issues. And that's how it basically looks. So it's pretty follows consistent API. So lean-back gives you prepared components, so you're like not spending your time on designing any UI. You can change those colors, you can define click listeners or design cards, but the overall layout is already prepared by Google for you. So this is the home screen, usually home screen for great variety of Android TV applications. And as you can think, what kind of Android Android applications you would expect for TVs. Of course, they're about TV, about movies, about series, some radio applications. The funny stuff, there is also some Opera browser, and there is no browser from by default installed on your Android TV, but you can install Opera one, and people said it's crap, it's not working properly. So now I will just start digging into the technical details how actually this works. So the whole TV screen is just one huge recycler view, and everything lives within your adapter. In this case, the array, object, and adapter. So the screen is separated with rows. Each row has header, this one about category, and has cards within it. So browser fragments used for home screens. Search fragment. Search fragment is compounded of voice search, search field, and again we have rows fragment, again array object adapter, and we have rows. But you are not actually responsible to know everything about this when you start implementing this first time. The only thing you should make for yourself obvious what's about this array object adapter and about this list row object. Details fragment is once again one huge recycler view. The only difference is compound of another type of row. It's pretty simple. Image description, actions buttons. Additional row can be anything you want. It can be infinite list. It's still list row. Vertical grid presenter. Once again, recycler view, array object adapter, and this layout by laying back in this manner. The last one is about interacting with users. So if you want the user to basically set up login, you open this kind of screens. There is actions here. There is a guidance view. It's more about what this part of you do. But in this part, you can actually put fields, checkboxes, buttons, and labels. So in general, we have recommendation support, and I will soon move about this more in detail. We have voice search already implemented for us. We only just reusing the components, and the permissions for Android 7.0 is already handled for us, so it's not a problem anymore. And we can reduce global search by providing custom content provider. So it supports API 17. That's how it makes our lives easier. So still it should be 21, but Beanbag, they know about issues around Chinese boxes, so they get that in mind and make our life easier, at least for API 17. If lower, well, you're not a lucky guy and you should implement it yourself. There are optimized layouts. They are handling overscan issue by providing 10% margin. And truthfully speaking, before preparing this presentation, I have no idea about this overscan issue. So it's just one screen. We can see there is a border. It's dark. Sorry, it's not good to see, but I hope you can see. And the next screen, it shows the same image, but it's like maxed. So overscan is about history. Before those super huge screens, we have these rounded boxes. We have these problems with corners when image was overlapped by physical parts of the screen, and there were like rainbow lines or some artifacts. And overscan is just grabbing this part of the screen. It's just cutting over 10% from each part of the image and makes it bigger. And that's what actually even done in present time, so that even the older TV devices would work properly with the content. So this is how it actually looks when you're trying to not use leanback. So we can see there is issue with overscan, and basically it's just like you are responsible manually to start this setting. So no need to do this leanback doing this for us. and funny cat video. So, short break. Now it's Thursday. Okay, lean back based on model view presenter architecture. How many of you heard about MVP here? Please raise your hands. Okay, it's great, much more than I was expecting. So, model layer is practically any type of architecture you have. It can be content providers, it can be plain network codes, database, whatever you want. The only requirement is just to give data to your object adapter. Recycler view would ask your presenter just to give him view, then object adapter just gives back this data to the presenter. Presenter maps data to your view and gives it back to the recycler view. And you can see those rows, those cards on your screen. So model is the main logic. Presenter is presenter, so it is actually presenter class within the in-back package. And view is a combination of recycler view and events and fragments. So, digging into the code, when you start implementing application, you're starting from manifest, you declare permissions, one to work for audio, for voice search, another for letting your device start recommendation services if you have one. And you need to explicitly define that your application works for non-touchscreen devices, otherwise Play services, Play Market, it will cut it off. Another thing to note is that it's no more launcher category, but in-back launcher. And just don't forget to set up custom configuration in your Android Studio. Just explicitly define which activity is actually lean-back, because otherwise it would launch the first activity, which was category launcher. And it actually shoot me in the leg because I was like rebuilding application, reinstalling, and what the heck? Why do I see my old handset device, handset UI? Well, it's easy. You need to launch the proper activity with Android Studio, and it does not know about this if you not define this. So let's implement this stuff, but how actually this screen works. So it's a browser fragment. You can see it's extends browser fragment. We have load rows and stop event listeners. Load rows, super simple. We fetching categories. We are defining our list row presenter. As I have mentioned, presenters are the part of the package. Then we have our array object adapter. We define that it would populate your rows. And the one will be used for the actual movies within category. We look through category and we create adapter for each category, populating it with movies. We define header item with title, we define list row, and then we feed this list row to our parent adapter. So here is parent adapter, here is child adapters, and finally we use set adapter. It's a part of browser fragment API. Event listeners. On search click listener, the same stuff as with on click button event. About set on icon view click listener, I need to mention or emphasize the part that objects, that these listeners, they yield objects and not the particular type. And you're responsible to cast this explicitly. So it can be anything, so you can feed any type of object to your adapter. The same situation goes to the selected listener. It's when user selects it with your controller. Card presenter, pretty simple. Image, title, context. As we can see, it creates the view, it binds data to view, it releases resources. So it can be, we can reuse the components like image, card view. We make them focusable. That's really important for lean-back design because everything should be focusable because of the pod controller. And we bind our movie information into this card view and we load image. Can be used. You can use everything you like. Picasso, like fresco. That's not matter. The matter is just what kind of data we receive and how you want. And here we releasing the reference to image. So recommendations, yay. So these parts, it's notifications. I guess you know about the carrot, like you have notifications, and in Android operation system there is no notification, there is only this part of UI. It's like you as application developer responsible to feed the operation system what kind of items your user would like to see. So we define recommendation service, we fetch our movies, we build notifications, and then we show notification. We usually use, this is the just generic vanilla way to create notification on Android system. We create image, then we create notification. We also responsible to be properly stacked. And the really important moment is to have your action unique, because it would stack and would not be broken on UI. And notifications are built with pretty simple pattern debuilder. You just define all the fields you require. Again, really important thing to note is about notification category recommendation type. Then we show notification, just take a reference to notification manager and give it to the system. And once again, unique ID, just don't forget, please. Boot complete receiver, it's when your application or Android TV is actually launched, and then this stuff starts sending events and scheduling them with alarm manager. Like half an hour, it would once again make a call, grab items, and show them to the recommendations. And the funny stuff about those mode, I have found nothing about this. So I guess those mode is not respected on TV devices because they are always powered to your network. So advices for those who start developing. So you should handle focuses. You can handle them with Java. You can handle them with XML, just give explanation where to focus next. Don't forget to set up a config change setting inside your activities, because remote controllers usually try to keep the battery saved, and they can disconnect. So you just put your controller, you go take some coffee, come back, and you can see your application dead. And to make this stuff not happening, just define this, and system would not kill your activity. And use team leanback, so it's not app combat, it's another type of team, so you are relying on fragment activities. So yeah, usually nobody actually rotating TV device, so you would not expect to see configuration change, but still there is announced multi-window mode with Android Nougat, and it's like playing the video in the top right corner. And still, this is also treated as config change, so please don't kill your network stuff, and do this the same way you do with your handset devices. So disadvantages, it's not disadvantages about the development, as I can assume you would understand that the main disadvantage is those Chinese boxes. They are like super tricky. But the disadvantages of Android TV system as well. So there is no way to customize recommendations. So the applications, they are like crazy. They spamming your recommendations feed, and there is no way it knows what you would like actually see. And Google, they say, if you use our services, then everything will be okay, but it's not like we would use only their services. So it's a problem. And there is no constant updates of operation system. It's overall problem of the whole Android system. And if you spend money, like thousands on your super shiny TV on Android operation system, there is no guarantee that it will survive properly at the updates or receive. So it's like you will have outdated device from after 2 or 3 years. And usually people keep their TVs for 5 years. And yeah, fun game. So it's looking in here. Okay, let's do this once again. Come on. No. Alright, so it's just half of animation. Sources. A lot of them, so feel free to dig into them. And question and answers, that's all from my side. So, yes, I'm already finished. Yeah, question and answers. That was super fast, yeah. So, okay, I guess we can ask questions in Ukrainian or English, whatever wants.
Перед тем, как начнется 10 минут вопросов, спикер в конце того, как вы будете задавать ему вопросы, выберет того, кто задал лучший вопрос, и мы подарим ему промокод от JetBrains на любой продукт JetBrains, кроме TeamCity или еще чего-то. И так будет с каждым спикером.
Можно себе задать вопрос?
Себе нет, к сожалению, спикерам они недоступны, только это.
Okay. So, questions. Let's go back to the code, maybe.
Можно и на английском, можно и на украинском, кому як.
I will just keep in English because my company would appreciate this. So.
Okay.
All right.
I have a question. I just have a question. So, do you have to create a separate app for TV, or you can create a module in your existing app?
So you can create module, but it would be Android library module. So you basically combine both generic code for handsets and both TV for TV. It's just like you create another activity, another fragment. So it differs nothing from the usual.
It's the same project?
It can live in the same app module that is created by default.
Okay.
So it's not like Word device, because Word device they are like forcing you to have separate module, but we are not speaking about Word devices.
Okay, I see. The same APK,
yeah.
More questions?
Как происходит монетизация самого приложения? То есть там бесплатное приложение или платное приложение, или просто брендирование?
Okay, the question, I will translate it. So, how monetization handled on Android Android TV applications? So my answer is, I don't know. So this guy there, over there, he would know.
Монетизация в приложениях на Android TV точно такая же, как в обычном. То есть курсы с обычной монетизацией. Она получается с сабскрипшены и ads. То есть на сегодняшний день subscription он круче всего, потому что ты можешь скачать приложение, подписаться на что-то, удалить его и забыть про это. А каждый месяц у тебя с карточкой будет транспорт.
Okay, so the answer is you use subscription monetization module, and you subscribe for something, then you forget about it, and you will be charged for money each month. So just be careful subscribing on applications. They're like super tricky, but that works.
You get an email each time you charge.
Don't treat emails, that's garbage. Okay.
Next one.
You have noticed that we can use both XML and both Java for some tricks, right?
Yeah, it's about focus issue. So you can develop, when there are actually a lot of components that like doing in the background, some transitions between UI stats, for instance. In search fragment you have search bar, search orb, you click it, it starts like bumping up animation, and when animation ends, then it focuses to the next item. So this is done with Java.
I just wanted to know if we could handle all this data in XML format, right? So we can use any language, what we would like to develop these applications, right? PHP or any other platform, right?
It's like XML is a format for designing layouts for your Android applications, and if you want something super custom or super cool, it's like Kotlin. it's just not possible to use everything. But you should keep in mind there is strict rules like use Android and use these kind of attributes. So it's like usually you switch between Java and layout XML code. So I will emphasize the layout. So it's not like super custom. And if you want really funny stuff, use Kotlin. With Kotlin you actually can design all your layouts with code.
Okay, got it. Thank you very much.
So I assume you already like released something, so there is some applications on some TVs, right?
Only one, and it's in process. It's just like very soon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
My question
that's-
was like if there are some any funny moments, like
The
some
funny
funny
moments-
bugs on TV.
The funny moments, do you mean from developer perspective or from the user perspective?
From the customer's perspective.
I guess it's those funny moments when maybe the cat has broken your network connection, and then you're like streaming video and then boom, the other. So that's usual situation. It's like any other software, it can be buggy. So if you're not careful designing it, by the way, you can use the same tools for testing, like Espresso, for instance. You just select emulator. There is actually prepared emulators with TV and so in mind. So funny moments, it can be some random stuff. But what actually users complaining here is about no information about operation system updates. So it's just, I don't know whether I am as some random company when releasing device, whether I will support this. For instance, Samsung's, they rarely update their fragments. So it's like you have S3 and that's all, it's the old operation system there. And no customization for recommendations. So let's find it.
That's really fun.
So this part is actually spammed. Every application spams this row. And there is no, so far what I have read about, there is no intellectual intellect behind this. Only if you rely on YouTube, so you're like watching YouTube videos, it's by default selecting the videos you like the most. But if you like some other company and you're not so powered like YouTube, it's probably that your recommendations will spam this part.
I was speaking with man.
Yeah, sure.
But can you disable notifications from separate apps that you can on the phone? Like you dislike that some app spams you with these recommendations, you can just turn them off.
Good question. Really good. I don't know, or I don't know. But it's I guess can be fine. Oh, there was Kevin. Oh, come on, where is it? Oh, okay. Let's see. So maybe here. So it's setting screen of the whole operation system. So yeah, I guess truly speaking, it's like I'm working on this basically 2 months. So it's not like I was playing with an actually real device. So basically all my experience doing in emulator. So funny stuff again, that question is with Android Chinese boxes. So they are like, imagine your TV, your Android device, and it's like translated to this big screen, and it doesn't look good. And if your application is not focusing properly elements during this, then probably your application will have better user experience. It's like you will not be able to select button. Yeah, more. I have some there version.
Over there.
Okay.
Тобто ви коли тільки на емуляторі власне мапу по великому швидкому телевізору, якому можна потестувати.
Okay, so do the question, do the translation. Do you, me, test the device on real devices or only in emulator? So in my case, I do this in emulator because I'm not working in company, I'm working remotely, but my team remotely doing this on real devices. So they have NVIDIA Shield, So this box, this box NVIDIA issued, and they test everything. They have QA team which also makes assertion that it works properly. And for developer, it's just like if it works properly in an emulator, there is no way to know whether it works properly on the real device, and that's requirement to have in every team. So it's not safe to release your application only with emulator. It's better to have boxes. It's expensive, but boxes not.
І краще бути виробником у революції. Девайс дадуть.
Or you can buy yourself and have a fun. Yeah.
А і ви повторюєте приватку.
No, with this it's just like you only spending $300.
Це не цікаво.
Okay. Yeah.
There is some way for realization hybrid apps for Android to be like React Native.
React Native? Good question. Okay. Are you prepared? I don't know. Alright. So let me guess. I think it should be possible to have some wrapper around TV WinBag component. But truthfully speaking, I was not looking into that field. I guess everything is possible. So if it's so much requirement or need for a company to have, I guess it's probably that you are responsible to implement it by yourself. So it's still paying, I guess. So it's not that I can confirm whether it's easy or not. I think it's paying, but it's myself, not objective but subjective point of view.
So guys, we have one more question. We have time for one more question. So who will be the next and the last one?
Last chance.
Yeah. Anyone else? Okay.
How do you choose that? I mean, how do you choose to work on such a project or area?
Why should I decide to spend my time on Android TV? It's because it was interesting, and IT development is about being curious, yes, so it's like you're doing what you like, and I like to explore things, and this was the funny thing, and I was curious how this works, how Android TV works, and that's the curiosity is the main motivator.
Thank you, Tom. So you should choose the best questions.
Oh, yeah. So best question. There are actually a lot of them. All right. Best question. It's hard for me.
Okay, so.
Okay, we can give a best question. Guy about reactive.
Okay.
So I can give best question to people who make me say I don't know. So there are 3 of them.
Okay, so.
Can we give 3 of them?
This is only one. We can make it freedom.
Okay.
Something like 5.
All right. So native guy.
Yeah.
Thanks. Just stand up, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Find me after this.
Thank you.